Hello everybody and welcome back, and we left the party in this top room here as they watched Golthar fly away out of this hole that he blasted in a wall. There's a lot of clearing up to do, there's a lot of treasure as well. Firstly, they go down to the room here where they heard the voice of Stephen in the invisible room. This isn't made clear in the book, but I'm going to say that with Golthar gone, the invisibility has been broken, and they find Stephen tied to a chair. There's a body here of whatever it was that attacked Carrick, and it is the body of a Minotaur. The Minotaur has a sword and it has another inscription on it. Liz can read languages. That's a skill that I forgot she had from level 4, so she is going to read the inscription on the sword. Well, she's going to try anyway. She has an 80% chance to do so. And yes, she succeeds. And it sort of says something on the lines of reveal all, but it has a chance to detect invisibility once per day. Now we untie Stephen, and Stephen has a lot to say. There's a section here called Stephen's Tale. Of course, his first concern is, how's everybody in Sukiskyn? Because Golthar, during his torturing, claimed that his entire family had either been killed or were kept hostage. We are able to bring good news that Sukiskyn and all his family are saved. He's very relieved at that. Stephen himself was captured at Iliakana, and he was taken to the Wolf Skull Lair. We know this because we met the old woman Babushka, who told us all about this. Stephen has been tortured while Golthar has interrogated him. Stephen was able to work out the secret of the special tapestries and the riches that it might lead to, purely from the questions that Golthar was asking. At Xitaqa, Golthar interrogated the prisoners, demanding to know where the golden tapestries were hidden. And of course, there is such a tapestry in the halls of Sukiskyn, his brother's house. So we untie Stephen. He asks where is his armour, his bow and his sword. We remember on the lair below there was a chest, the room that had all the iron ring manacles, their dormitory. We all go down there. He finds his stuff. We then go up to the top room, which was Golthar's own chamber, and we go through all the treasure there. And there was a hell of a lot of it. There was some gold on the Minotaur. There was some gold in the room with the iron ring. There was also several golden belt buckles, the usual small treasure like that. And overall, in terms of gold pieces, there was 12,685 pieces of gold. In the original rules, the weight of encumbrance is measured in coins, but the conversion to other objects, such like as a suit of armour, doesn't really seem appropriate. The coins seem to weigh 10 times as much as they should. There is some sort of consensus that you keep the CN abbreviation as the standard weight, but that 10 coins equals 1 CN rather than 1 coin equals 1 CN. So all of that gold ends up weighing 1,268. We have horses that can carry a lot of equipment. They are currently carrying some of our heavy equipment, like our rations, which weigh a lot. But if you look at the encumbrance and movement rates, which I have somewhere, you can move up to 60 feet per turn, carrying up to 1,200 CN. And that's not that much slower than our current rate of 90 feet, so we can easily distribute all that gold between us and still have some spare capacity to move at a slower movement rate. There were a couple of other magic treasures. One of those included a magic amulet. We're going to have to use the wand of magic detection on that, but that is an amulet that protects against ESP and crystal balls or clairvoyance, so that is the sort of mind protection amulet. There was a mass of gems, and the gems were worth 15,150. So the overall XP gained from last adventure was close to 30,000, which is incredible. It's clearly put Donard well into his next level, and we'll sort that out when the party are able to set up camp and rest for the night. However, amongst the treasure was a small ivory case with a very delicate parchment in it. And again, we are going to rely on Liz to see if she can read this. She scores a 7, which is incredibly low, so she just elbows everybody out of the way and says, "Let me do my sweet stuff." She reads the following: "I, Basquiat, High Priestess, do command your return to Xitaqa. The stars have changed and our power wanes. Several creatures harry us from the mountains and our people grow restless. We are stretched too thin. Bring the treasures of the temples and the people of the lowlands to feed the One. The sacred tapestries and your silver needles show the path." And within this little case is a silver needle. Right, so we've got several days of riding back to Sukiskyn to put our heads together to work out what all of that means. But this sounds bizarre. "And our people grow restless. Bring the treasures of the temples and the people of the lowlands to feed the One." That sounds like a sacrifice to whoever the One is. So let us finally leave this place. We exit here. There are stables here. We hear horses within those stables, and there's a lot of them. We have our own horses in this area here, and our little goblin friend has been waiting patiently. We give him 10 gold pieces, and as much as it does rankle with Donard and Stephen, we do send him on his way as promised, and he runs off to join his people who have escaped their indentured servitude. We have a lot of horses. Now Stephen is a horse trader. This seems like good news. He can clearly ride a horse, but the thing is, we also inform him that Loshad wants at least 5 of these horses back. Well, we've just found another 11, so we're going to come off better in that exchange. We still end up with more horses than we need. So after all the events of the day, we can go back here and rest up for the night. And we might as well finish with a check for an evening encounter. There isn't one. We can settle down, make a campfire and eat, and Donard can level up, and we'll sort that out in a minute. Right, so let's sort out Donard's level up. As I keep mentioning, he has an amazing constitution of 18, which has given him so far 15 of his experience points. The other 18 have come from rolling 5d6, and that has been decidedly average. The average of 5d6 is 17.5. So let's roll, and fingers crossed, it's a good one. And it can't get better than that. Oh yes. That is so good. So he goes up from 33 to 42. Wow, right. I would have been pleased with a 4, obviously anything above the halfway mark. And with much joy, I'm able to check out any upgrades for him. He is now a level 6 cleric, which is called an Elder, and is able to cast a level 3 spell. And these are Continual Light, Cure Blindness, Cure Disease, Growth of Animals, Locate Object, Remove Curse, Speak with the Dead, and Striking. Nothing changes in his saving throw tables. If I look at the Xitaqa table, nothing changes there as well, apart from the massive 9 hit points. And let's have a brief look at 3rd level cleric spells. Continual Light, okay, this is similar to a light spell, and it can also be used offensively as a blindness spell. Cure Blindness, it will however not affect blindness caused by a curse. This spell will cure nearly any form of blindness. I wonder then, can he go around a village and cure blind people and become a hero? Cure Disease, we haven't come across many diseases yet, though I believe things like a mummy may have a disease. Growth of Animal, doubles the size of one animal, does not affect intelligent animals, races or fantastic creatures. So essentially this is a spell where you can double the size of your horse so it can carry twice the normal encumbrance. Locate Object, A common object, such as stairs leading up, can be detected, otherwise the cleric must know exactly what the object looks like, size, shape, colour, etc. The spell will not locate a creature, and it gives the general direction but not the distance. Okay, I wonder what the know means. If somebody gives you a good description, that really doesn't fit the term exactly, so this must refer to something that the cleric has seen. Remove curse. I think this will become more useful as we find more magical objects that are cursed. Speak with dead, which is portrayed here. There's a lot to read here. It's clearly pretty situational. You have to find a dead body and you then can raise it from the dead and ask it questions. A cleric of up to 7th level may only contact spirits recently dead up to 4 days, and that time extends as the cleric becomes more powerful, and it also mentions how the spirits will answer you. This is the drawing that I pointed out right back in session 1, which was my favourite, and it still is. One day, Donard, Carrick, Sylvia and Malin will look like this. I presume Liz is in the back, and that's Ben. Right. But this one is the one I think I'll take, or that he will memorise. It's called Striking, and it lasts for 1 turn, which is easily 1 entire combat. Plus 1d6 bonus to damage on any 1 weapon. Right, so that in turn will turn himself or Carrick into a juggernaut of destruction. The weapon will inflict this extra damage for as long as the spell lasts. The bonus does not apply to hit rolls. If cast on a normal weapon, creatures affected only by magic weapons may be hit. For 1 to 6 points of damage per strike, regardless of the weapon. Only the magic damage applies in such cases. The only person who would really need that is Liz. Does not have a magic bow. She does have a magic short sword. However, if you use this as well as the haste spell, can you imagine Carrick rolling 1d12 plus 1d6 twice per round? This could do so much more damage than a fireball when you couple it with haste. Right, our party's gonna kick ass. So that's Donard's level up. And we'll get the party back to Sukiskyn in a minute. We're on to the next chapter, Journey to Threshold. Does say at the beginning of this adventure that it would be best that the party members don't come from Threshold, as that might change the adventure slightly. Unfortunately, our party members do come from Threshold. 2 of them were born and brought up there, and 1 of them stayed there, and both Carrick and Sylvia have visited. This is a chance for some of our party members to go back home. They don't know that yet, of course, where their adventure will take them. And we're told here, return to Sukiskyn. Obviously everybody is overjoyed to see Stephen return. Piotr, his brother, in particular, rushes forward to meet his brother with tears of joy streaming down his face. Afterwards he thanks the adventurers profusely and organises a feast to celebrate. And of course there's the old woman Kuzma, who is Stephen's mother. Well, she's overjoyed as well. Everyone's happy. We're going to hand over the gold to Piotr. It is needed to rebuild this entire area. All of these homesteads were burnt, some of them even ruined. We're also going to need to find some mercenaries who will be able to help clear out any of the bad influences which have made a home in the ruins. Liz has to grit her teeth as all that money disappears. Carrick says that it pays to be generous. Whatever you give, you get back tenfold. That doesn't come true entirely, but Piotr refuses to take all the money, and he gives us at least 5,000 of it back, so he keeps around 10,000. We have more than 12,000 in gems, which we have to trade and turn into cash. We will take a hit on the exchange rate. While we're feasting in the main hall, there is this tapestry that has been the cause of all the ruination and Gothar's plans. And we know we have a magical silver needle, that something will happen when we use it on the tapestry. Stephen gets up from the dinner table and walks over to the tapestry and sticks the needle into it. As the needle is touched to the tapestry, it sparkles brightly and its golden thread shimmers, moving of its own volition, the needle magically weaves through the golden tapestry, subtly changing the areas it passes through. Soon, geometric patterns are gone, replaced by a beautifully executed map depicting a coastline, rivers, and a pulsating golden area nestled in a mountain range. Of course, everybody stops eating, puts their fork down, and stares at this amazing piece of magic. And it becomes clear to all of them that it does look like a map, and they can identify the rivers. There are no homesteads because this map was formed long before Karamikios existed. The glowing area to the northwest, well, that seems to be the target of the adventure. With this knowledge, the Lost Valley can be seen to lie to the mountains north of Threshold in an area Stephen knows to be wild and untamed. Stephen, who has been at the centre of all of this, even though nobody knew it, is eager to find this Lost Valley. And he is going to set off looking for it, which means we essentially have to follow him. He will become a retainer. Piotr is kind of drunk and in full spirits. He declares the adventurers to be his greatest friends and says they're always welcome to stay in Sukiskyn. He gives each of them a 100 gold piece gem. Well, that's nice. We're going to spend a couple of nights here. We have to meet with Loshad on the hills and give him back our 5 horses. Piotr is obviously upset at that, but he's quite happy to have 11 horses in return. And we have a couple of days to make our plans as to how to find this Lost Valley, and we'll do that in a minute. There's a couple of days of business to attend to before the party can set off looking for this Lost Valley. The first is that they have to return their 5 horses to Loshad. Remember, Loshad met them about here on the way to the gold mine, and the party's 5 horses ran up to him and had a conversation with them. And Loshad then promised us some information to find Xitaqa, and in return that we release these horses. Well, that's what we do. We spend one night on the moors whistling for him. On the second night, we walk up there with the horses, and Loshad appears to us in his centaur form. He talks to the horses first. They have no complaints, though they have been on quite a bit of an adventure themselves. And, well, I don't know what's the equivalent of getting a free drink for a story in the world of horses, but they will be able to dine out on their adventures for some time to come. Loshad leaves us with a "I'm sure we'll meet again." He's no fool. He still knows there are some white horses still unaccounted for. And indeed, these white horses get brought up in the conversation with Piotr. If you remember, way back in the beginning of this story, it was Stephen who contracted us to go from Kelvin to Sukiskyn, collect some white horses, and then return those horses to Refillion to sell them. Those horses were stolen from Sukiskyn in the long night, that 3-session fight when we first arrived, where the goblins stole the white horses, took them to here. Many of them got killed, and the rest were taken to this horse trader here. We killed her, rescued the white horses. They have been languishing in the stables there for what must be over a month. And Piotr, with a bit of cheek, it has to be said, after everything we've done to save them from death and rescue his brother, still reminds us that we have a job to do, which is to escort these horses to the elves in Refillion. And so we set off eventually on Moldane the 3rd of Yarthmont, and the weather isn't looking that great. It's overcast, it's drizzly, and the wind is blowing. We will have some shelter as we have to make our way to Misha's ferry. Along this path, and then that path, Stephen is going to accompany us, as he will be the one who is going to barter with the elves over the horses. And also he is keen in finding this lost valley with its fabled riches. I think his prolonged imprisonment and torture may have made him a bit obsessed. For all his celebrations of being rescued, he's damaged goods. And just to point out, here's Sukiskyn, here's Misha's ferry, and the party think the Lost Valley is up here, and it will become apparent to everybody that they will pass through Threshold. That will carry some meaning for those people who used to live there, and it will be a chance for them to return home. What they will think of home now that they have changed drastically, we can only but wait and see. So we haven't quite finished with this map. So we set off on this cool wet day, going through the forest, and we come to Misha's ferry. We still call out for Misha. Her fate has not yet been decided. There is always a bear. Now the book tells us two things. Firstly, it tells us that Misha, right at the beginning, fell into the river and was drowned when she was attacked by vampire bats. But rumours have gone around that Misha is actually a shapeshifter and she is her bear. The book also tells us in this part of the adventure, if the party arrive within 2 days of returning here, we will meet Misha's bear. But if we arrive more than 2 days, well, something has happened. We don't meet Misha's bear, we meet something else, and that is the case for us. This is our 3rd day. We're past the time limit. And as the party walk up the path towards the ferry point, they fail to get surprised. We are met with an ambush, and the ambush could have happened on a roll of 1 to 4. They roll a 5. So coming out of the bushes here, and from here and here in the trees, are 2 reavers of the Iron Ring and 7 of their maniacal hounds. We have to roll for initiative. And we get initiative. Right, okay. It's become pretty apparent in this game, winning initiative or losing initiative in the very first round can completely swing the entire combat. So we have archery first, and we've got Liz, Sylvia and Stephen, who has a short bow. We will do Liz. She's going to take on one of the archers in the woods. There is no short range bonus, and they have a cover of -2 because they are in the trees. So she in effect rolls a 10. That's still good enough to hit their rather bad AC 7, but unfortunately she doesn't kill one. She's on this one. It's down to 1 HP. Sylvia is going to have her go. She in effect throws an 8. Oh, and that's a miss. And Stephen is going to have his turn. And he in effect throws a 9. And his ranged Xitaqa is 16. And he does 2 damage off 1. It's down to 4. Right, we have our spells round. And Malin is immediately going to cast Shield. Right, and Donard is going to cast Bless. And then the melee round. And it's Carrick is going to move up. And these 2 reavers have names. They're called Herman and Bors. Why we need to know their name, I don't know, because we're never going to speak to them. And Carrick, it's AC 7. That's not good enough. Where's my Bless post-it note? So it's their round. I will do all the archery first. They have 7 archers, so that's 1 on each of us and 2 on somebody else. Those 2 will be on Carrick, so I shall do all the archers in turn. The first one on Donard, misses. Second one on Carrick, misses. The one on Stephen hits him for 2 points. Stephen only has leather armor. We'll have to do something about that later, but he has got reasonably good hit points. Then we'll do Liz, Sylvia and Malin. The one on Liz misses. The one on Sylvia, they have a Xitaqa of 16 and her ranged AC is 3, so that's 5 points off her. And the one on Malin, completely fumbles. Now there is 1 archer left. There's also 1 Carrick. He misses. They have a melee round, and there's one on Donard, who misses, and there's one on Carrick, who misses. Round number 2. And we get initiative again. Liz, she misses. Sylvia misses. Stephen misses. Spells. Malon's going to cast Sleep. And he's going to cast it in this area here. And I have made each square roughly about 20 feet. The radius or the diameter of Sleep, it's only 40 feet. So that's just enough to hit these 4. And they are very low level. Yeah, and that's these 4 going to sleep. It's our melee round. Donard, well, that's a 12 because of the bless spell. He easily hits this one, and he does 2 + 5 damage, 7. That's Herman down to 12. We've got Carrick, who easily hits and does 12 damage. Bors is down to 5. Their turn. They have archery. There's only 3 archers left. And the first one was on Liz. And that hits her for 4 points. We have the 2 which are on Carrick. First one misses. Second one misses. Their melee round. Herman on Donard hits and does 7 points. He's down to 35. Bors on Carrick misses. They need a 16 to hit. Round number 3. They get initiative, so we can do that again. The archer that's on Liz misses her. The 2 archers on Carrick. Yeah, they both miss. Their melee round. Herman on Donard hits for another 3 points. He's down to 32. Bors, it's Carrick. He's down to 27. Our go. Let's see if Liz can take out this archer here. He's only got 1 hit point left. And yes, she does. She kills him. Sylvia and Stephen are both going to go for one of these archers here. Sylvia misses. Stephen with the bless spell. He does 2 points of damage to this one. Down to 4. Melee, Donard is on Herman and misses, and Carrick is on Bors and kills Bors. So we have round number 4 and they get initiative. So we've got 2 archers which are both on Carrick because he's the closest. No one's going to go for Malin. The one that goes for Malin misses. The one on Carrick misses. And then Herman, I'm going to do a morale check for him. His morale holds up. He is fighting Donard. And he misses. It's our go. Liz is going to go for Herman. And she hits and does 4 points of damage. He's down to 8. Sylvia and Stephen are going to go for these archers. Well, Sylvia hits AC. She gets a bless spell, +1, -2 for cover. That's a 10. She hits and she does 5 damage. She kills this one. Stephen. Misses. Donard. That's an 8, in fact, because of the bless. He misses AC 4. Carrick. That's a 7. He hits AC 4 and he does 9 damage, and Herman is dead. There's only one hound left, plus 4 of his sleeping companions. And he gets initiative. Remember, these guys are slightly maniacal. He's going for Carrick. He misses. Right, it's our go. Liz, who is within normal range. Liz hits him and kills him. So we have to dispatch these sleeping reavers. We know from experience they don't cooperate. There's no point in keeping one. They were sent as an ambush. And I'm going to leave it here for today, and we're going to have to continue on our journey from Misha's Ferry Point, and we will do that next time. So I will see you then.